Anthony Jackson, whose full name is Anthony Claiborne Jackson, born on June 23, 1952, and passing on October 19, 2025, was an American bassist widely revered as one of the true masters of his instrument. His artistry and innovation placed him among the elite musicians who transformed modern bass playing. Over his long and influential career, Jackson's creative genius extended beyond performance. He helped shape the very design of the modern six-string bass, an instrument he called the electric contrabass guitar. This invention, driven by his quest for expanded musical expression, would forever alter how bassists approached their craft. Anthony Jackson had an estimated net worth of $5 million at the time of his demise. He amassed the impressive sum from his successful career, endorsements, and business ventures. Before he became one of the most respected bass players in the world, Jackson's musical journey began with the piano, which he studied in his youth. During his teenage years, he switched to guitar before ultimately finding his lifelong passion in the bass. His early inspirations came from two legendary figures, James Jamerson, the powerhouse of the Motown sound, and Jack Cassidy, known for his adventurous and melodic approach with Jefferson Airplane. Their influence sparked Jackson's lifelong curiosity and devotion to pushing the bass beyond its conventional boundaries. As his talent blossomed, Jackson began carving a name for himself as a session musician in the early 1970s. His professional breakthrough came when he joined Billy Paul's band, where he became a part of the Philadelphia International Records family, an era that would define both his career and a golden age of soul music. It was during this period that he played on Paul's 1972 hit Me and Mrs. Jones, a song that soared to #1 on the charts. His bass lines, subtle yet powerful, gave the song its rich undercurrent and marked his first major success in the recording industry. 2 years later, his iconic performance on For the Love of Money by the O'Jays became one of his most recognizable contributions. The hypnotic bass riff he created helped propel the song to #9 on the pop chart and #3 on the R&B chart in 1974, sealing his reputation as a creative force in contemporary music. To refine his musical skills further, Jackson studied under accomplished musicians such as Jerry Fisher, Lawrence Lucy, and Pat Martino. These experiences deepened his understanding of jazz and harmony, elements that would later define his sophisticated playing style. Over the course of his life, he performed in more than 30 countries and took part in over 3,000 recording sessions across 500 albums, a staggering testament to his versatility and demand. His ability to adapt across genres, from jazz and R&B to fusion and pop, made him one of the most sought-after bassists of his generation. By the mid-1970s, Jackson's mind was turning toward innovation. He had become increasingly frustrated with the limitations of the traditional four-string bass. He believed the instrument's restricted range was holding back musical expression. Drawing from both his technical understanding and his creative instincts, he envisioned a new type of bass, one that extended its lower and upper registers. His idea was to construct a six-string contrabass guitar tuned in fourths, BADGC, a design that offered both depth and melodic reach. In 1974, Jackson began approaching instrument makers about bringing his vision to life. Luthier Carl Thompson became the first to take on the challenge, crafting the first six-string contrabass guitar for Jackson in 1975. That same year, Jackson debuted his revolutionary instrument in the studio while recording with Carlos Garnett, and later on tour with Roberta Flack. The new bass allowed him to explore harmonic territory previously unreachable for most bassists. He later collaborated with renowned luthier Ken Smith, and eventually settled on instruments made by the New York-based bass company Fodera, who would later produce his signature models. When asked about his motivations for expanding the bass, Jackson often reflected on the instrument's evolution. He argued that it was illogical for the bass guitar to have only 4 strings when, as the lowest-pitched member of the guitar family, it should naturally mirror the 6-string structure of the guitar. He pointed out that Leo Fender's original 4-string design had been modeled too closely on the upright bass, rather than considering the full potential of an electric instrument. Jackson's contrabass concept, therefore, was not simply an experiment. It was a correction of what he saw as a design oversight. From 1982 onward, Jackson almost exclusively played his 6-string contrabass guitar. Before then, his main tools had been a 1973 Fender Precision bass, a customized 1973 Fender Jazz bass fitted with a 1975 Precision neck, and a Gibson EB2D. But after refining his vision, he partnered with Fodera, who in 1984 introduced the first Anthony Jackson signature model contrabass. In 1989, they unveiled an upgraded version, the Anthony Jackson Presentation Contrabass Guitar, with a distinctive single cutaway design that became one of his trademarks. Jackson's legacy was not only built through innovation, but through collaboration. Throughout his career, he worked with an astonishing array of artists, crossing musical borders with ease. His versatility allowed him to move effortlessly from jazz fusion to pop, from soul to Latin music. Among the countless luminaries he collaborated with were Al Di Meola, Chaka Khan, Roberta Flack, Michel Petrucciani, Will Downing, and Hiromi Uehara. With Di Meola, he played on landmark albums like Elegant Gypsy, 1977, and Casino, 1978, where his bass provided a fiery rhythmic foundation for Di Meola's complex guitar work. His work with Flack, especially on Feel Like Makin' Love, added depth and warmth to her soulful tone. As a session musician, Jackson was nearly unparalleled in his output. His discography reads like a map of modern popular music, featuring collaborations with artists as varied as Donald Fagen, Quincy Jones, Steely Dan, Luther Vandross, Paul Simon, Diana Ross, Madonna, and the Bee Gees. His ability to adapt to the unique sound of each artist, while retaining his own musical identity, made him indispensable in the studio world. In jazz, he became a trusted collaborator for virtuosos like Michel Camillo and Mike Stern, adding technical brilliance and rhythmic complexity to their recordings. Among his most notable late-career partnerships was his work with Japanese jazz pianist Hiromi Uehara. Together, they recorded several acclaimed albums including Voice, Move, and Alive. Their performances, often alongside drummer Simon Phillips, showcased breathtaking interplay and musical chemistry, with Jackson's intricate bass lines serving as both rhythm and melody. However, by 2016, health problems began to limit his performances with Hiromi, signaling the beginning of his gradual withdrawal from active touring. Though Jackson rarely sought the spotlight, his influence reached generations of bass players who viewed him as a pioneer. His six-string contrabass guitar became a standard among contemporary jazz and fusion bassists, expanding the instrument's role far beyond its traditional function. His technical mastery, marked by flawless precision, harmonic depth, and emotional control, set a new standard for musicianship. To many, he was the perfect blend of intellect and soul, a thinker who played from the heart. Over a career that spanned more than 5 decades, Anthony Jackson left behind a body of work that continues to inspire musicians worldwide. His artistry can be heard across more than 500 albums, in genres ranging from R&B classics to jazz fusion masterpieces. Few musicians managed to blend innovation, precision, and feeling as seamlessly as he did. Even as his health declined in his later years, his dedication to his craft never faded. Anthony Jackson passed away on October 19, 2025, at the age of 73, leaving behind a legacy that transcends notes and instruments. He was more than a bassist. He was a visionary who reshaped how the world heard the low end of music. His contrabass guitar, his countless recordings, and his influence on generations of musicians ensure that his sound will continue to resonate long after his final performance. Through his relentless pursuit of musical perfection, Anthony Jackson not only expanded the possibilities of the bass guitar, but also redefined what it means to be an artist devoted to innovation and excellence. And with that, thanks for watching. Give us a like, share with friends, and please subscribe.